hot sauce. It's a small batch, handmade hot sauce, made specially for you. So if you like hot sauce, you'll love Great White hot sauce. It's the hot sauce that bites back. Find it at www.trygreatwhite.com. Well, I'm back from vacation and ready to start it up again. On this episode, we're going to do another mixtape. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I like that. It's a nice jumble. A little jambalaya. This week's co-host and the revolving door of co-hosts is Tom Spallone, once again, from the Going Postal podcast. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
The KOFB studio presents Milk Crates and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the podcast. You know the name, so I'm not going to say it. We are streaming live right now over YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and now Twitch. Yeah, back on Twitch. I was off it for a while, but I figured, what the hell? Throw it out there, see what sticks. Twitch is it's more of a gamer platform, but they have a whole section dedicated to podcasts, broadcasts, people playing music, their music. It's interesting. It's a different type of platform, but yeah, we're streaming live over that right now. Tonight's co-host, once again, my buddy from Boca, the host of the Going Postal podcast. Yeah, you should check it out. My buddy, Tom Spallone. What's up,
Hello.
Tom?
What's going on? Good to see you again.
You too, buddy. You too. How's everything going? Good?
Good. I'm on the mend. I was sick for a bit, but I'm almost there. 93.5%.
Hey, what was the latest episode of Going Postal?
Oh boy, it was a twofer, wasn't it?
Was it one of them mayonnaise related?
Yeah. You
like
forwarded
mayonnaise.
You forwarded that story. Someone else freaked out again on someone putting too much. It was too much mayonnaise. It was a Subway restaurant. Somebody ordered a sandwich, and the interesting thing was, it's not that they didn't want mayonnaise on it. That would have been one thing, but the guy was a little bit of that. Give me some of that. Put some mayonnaise on the sandwich artist, put too much mayonnaise, and the guy freaked the fuck out. He started shooting up the place.
There's no such thing as too much mayo. As a matter of fact, I heard you refer to it as lather it up with mayo.
Well, yeah. I don't have nothing.
There's one sandwich you said you lather it up with mayo.
Yeah, right. A good roast beef, sure. Lather that thing up.
Hey, is there any? You're from New Jersey, right?
I was born in New York and raised in New Jersey, yeah.
So generally, is there any specific type of mayonnaise up there that they don't sell anywhere else in the country? Like it's regional?
If there is, I'm not aware of it.
See, I'm a mayo connoisseur. There's a mayonnaise. Yeah? It's only in New England. It really is. And I don't even know if it's in every state. It's called Cane's mayonnaise. I'll tell you what, man. It is the greatest mayonnaise ever.
Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I haven't had really good,
good
mayonnaise.
I have to order it off famousfoods.com, which is all New England style food, right? I pay a little extra for it, but I don't care. I don't care.
You have it shipped in. You have your shit shipped in.
I do. It's actually, there's a shortage of it up there right now. So, yeah. Love the Cane's mayonnaise. And
Nice.
and I'd have to say the number 2 isn't Hellman's. Hellman's is overrated. You know, they have Duke's. Duke's is okay. There used to be one down here called Deep South. And it was the same kind of label as Duke's, that black and yellow, right? But the number 2 mayonnaise in my book, in my mayonnaise connoisseur book, is Kraft real mayonnaise. It's actually really good mayonnaise. Yeah. So.
Well, I think the point of contention a lot with people is this Miracle Whip. Is that even mayonnaise? I don't know.
My son-in-law likes it. He likes it on his sandwiches. I use it as a mixture with my Filipino macaroni salad. I mix it with regular mayo, right?
Yeah.
That stuff's actually the bomb. I'll tell you the recipe later, but it's really fucking good. It's Filipino macaroni salad. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, hey, listen. I was looking today. I get these alerts, or these, in my emails from like what concerts are in your area, type thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Bands in town, is it? Is it bands in town?
Yeah, it's something like. Well, it's let's see. It's from Live Nation, right? Live Nation concerts, right?
Right.
So I get the list, and I always look it over when I get a new one, and this is what's coming in our area. Okay.
Go ahead, hit me.
You got the Scorpions, which, I'm not a huge Scorpions fan. So then you go to the Doobie Brothers. Doesn't excite me. A lot of people want to see them because they're the Doobie Brothers, and Michael McDonald is playing. Yeah. And
is McDonald with that? I heard something like that. Okay, so that might be.
He's with them. Yeah. Then you get to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. No,
I'm not interested.
No. Santana, Earth, Wind, and Fire on the Miraculous Supernatural. I don't like Santana.
Well, you mentioned it, and he passed recently, like last week. He passed out or something on stage or something like this.
Oh, did he?
I don't know. Yeah, something happened somewhere in Minnesota or something that he just crumbled. I don't know if it was the heat or what.
70, isn't he? It's got to be 70.
He's pushing it.
Or in his early
he's
70s.
At least 70. No, he's got it. I bet you he's older than that.
So, and with them is Earth, Wind, and Fire. And you know, Earth, Wind, and Fire, this version of Earth, Wind, and Fire might have one original member in it. Because a lot of bands will do that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the original member, and then it's a rotating band after a while, right? So, without Philip Bailey, and I don't think he is in this version. Yeah. But you get Lady Gaga. No, thank you.
No.
Now this is one that you brought up. You get Steely Dan, right?
Steely Dan.
Which was moved. They're actually playing here 4 nights, and I know you would like to see them. I'm a purist.
Mm-hmm.
Without Walter Becker, I'm just kind of like, it's not really Steely Dan.
That's a tough call for even them to call it Steely Dan. But
so I was thinking of that. You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I was thinking of that the other day. It's funny you said that. I'm like, so shouldn't it be Donald Fagen from Steely Dan, or did he just,
Well, that's just it. He's got a legitimate solo. It wasn't like he doesn't. He does, and so he's out there performing. So where do you draw the line when it stops becoming Donald Fagen and it starts becoming Steely Dan?
I think when Walter Becker dies, that's the line. That's the line. It's not like it's Hall & Oates and Oates isn't there and Daryl Hall's still calling it Hall & Oates.
Exactly.
Right. I don't know. It's the same thing with ZZ Top. I've seen them 6 times. I won't see them without Dusty Hill. I just won't. I won't do it.
Yeah.
So you got Steely Dan. Then you got this shit show, Alice in Chains and Breaking Benjamin. Do not go see Alice in Chains. You will be severely disappointed if you are an Alice in Chains fan. Made the mistake of going. They backed up Korn last year up in the West Palm Amphitheater, whatever they're calling it this year. Yeah. And I made the mistake. I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Oh, that was bad. Really? It's just, So then you got this group we're going to talk about in a minute. Kiss, End of the Road World Tour.
They've been ending it for 30 years already, right?
Yeah. Let's see. You got the Bay Strikes Back tour with Testament, Exodus, and Death Angel. No, thank you.
Yeah.
You got this guy, Sebastian Yatara, blah, blah. And you got Anadios Veredes, blah, blah, blah. Listen to the Daryl Holland, Daryl Hall's house band. See, he did it right.
Exactly. You see, he's not calling it Hall & Oates, right?
Oates, yeah. Then you got KMFDM, whatever the F that means.
Right.
You got Carnival of Crew, which is a tribute to Motley Crue. No, tribute bands are weird to me sometimes. Like these guys that dress up like them, and the wigs, and they try to really look and act like them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a musician, I've thought about it. I've actually thought of like auditioning for tribute band. I mean, it's a gig, it's money,
So,
but I don't get it that it's big business. I mean, some of these bands play in big, on stages, on big, arena type clubs and things like this. And well, who's going? I mean, I don't know who's going to a show. I'm not going to go to a tribute show, but some, I guess people do,
There's tribute bands, then there's cover bands, right? Tribute bands are the ones that they put on the Kiss makeup.
Yeah.
They play the part exactly.
Right.
You get the cover bands. Now, there's a band that comes around here, and I'll let you know next time they come around. It's Classic Albums Live, right? Now, I stumbled on them, it's got to be 12 years ago. Maybe, about 12, 13 years ago when the old Hard Rock was there. Remember the original build and everything was outside?
Yeah.
Which it's amazing they had that much money that they could just fucking tear that down 10 years later and rebuild a new one. That's insane, right? And there was this little venue up on the left-hand side. If you walked past, Hard Rock Live, and there was this little venue, and it was just kind of like a small stage with probably seated about, 200 people. So my buddy had come down from Boston, my friend Phil Kelly, and I'd been seeing these Classic Album Lives up on, plays Led Zeppelin 2 or something, So I said, fuck it. It was $10 a ticket. So we went in, and dude, what this group does is they will take an album. They were just in town with Rumors, right? And they will play it from the first song to the last song in the album, note for note. Exactly, note for note. Yeah. They all dress in some sort of black. They do not engage with the audience. They play the album.
Yeah.
Right? And these guys, it's a Canadian group, but they have locals that come in, like someone like you. Hey, Phil, we're going to be in, and we need you to play, guitar.
Yeah.
But you have to audition and be that good for them.
Right.
And it was absolutely mind-blowing watching this dude play Led Zeppelin 2 on the guitar.
Really?
The singer sounds just like him. Then when they're done with the album, that's when they kind of take a break. They come out, then they loosen up, and they do like a greatest hits.
Right.
And they'll interact a little with the crowd, I've seen them do Dark Side of the Moon, which is amazing to see them do that.
Yeah.
But, there's definitely a difference between cover bands and tribute bands, right?
The tribute bands, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of Led Zeppelin cover bands out there, right?
Yeah.
So you got Incubus with very special guest, Sublime with Rome, right? That not going to see Sublime with Rome, although he was one of the key members of the band, the original members. And Bad Bunny, then Audio Echo, and the Pantera Experience. See, it's really nothing coming up that I can sink my teeth into.
Right.
Right. You're going to go see Steely Dan or no?
Probably not.
No.
Not. Yeah. Hey, do you ever go to that club over here on East Boca, the Funky Biscuit?
Funky Biscuit. I was going to see the motels there.
Oh.
But something came up. It conflicted with the night they were playing. But I would have loved to have seen them there.
Yeah.
But I haven't been there, no.
I was there years ago it wasn't it was like a piano, dueling pianos. Like two guys had two pianos facing each other and they were doing, but it was a good show. But it's a nice club, and it's a shame that, I mean, they got like roving bands, but it's a small club type of situation. I know Simon Phillips was there a couple of years ago. I tried to go, but wasn't able to get there. But it would be great if they had like bigger names than Wishbone Ash was there a few weeks ago. They're I don't know, they got back, whoever's in that band, you know.
Yeah.
They were there. You know, but it's a nice little club. You know,
There's
I keep my eye on it once in a while just to see who's playing there. But it's all people I've never heard of. You know, they're just these low level touring bands that I've never heard of, but that's what they do. They go club to club. You know,
they're grinding it out.
Grind it out.
There's a place down in Fort Lauderdale. Something Revolution Live. I wanted to see a couple years ago. I wanted to see Peter Murphy. Again, conflict. Plus, some of these shows are on like Wednesday nights. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I had to get up for work back then.
Right.
I'm going to drive down to Fort Lauderdale to see Peter Murphy, which would have been great. Yeah. But it was like a Wednesday night. Sometimes at 11 o'clock the show starts or something, 10 o'clock. Yeah. It's like, and I don't drink, so.
Oh, you know? Yeah.
I went down to Miami, this small club right outside of Liberty City, which is not a good area. And I saw this group from Austin, Texas, the Black Angels. They're kind of like a modern day psychedelic sound. They're really good. I really like them. Yeah. Heavy reverb on the guitars. And, you know, And I'll tell you what, when I was done with that show, like this is a place the bus was parked right out front.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. I like that
I think
stuff.
the venue held maybe 100 people, 150 at the most, you know. But yeah, that was an interesting. Needless to say, when I left, I didn't stop at any red lights or stop signs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had the badge ready
before.
Yeah. I had the badge ready. I don't care if the cops pull me over. I'm not stopping. Nah. It's just the way it is down there in that area.
Yeah.
Hey, what was the first concert you ever saw?
Oh, you know, you brought this up. I tell you, you know, for me, it's a real. I feel it's a feather in my cap. I've told you I'm into prog. I'm just an Emerson, Lake and Palmer fan from the beginning, and it's that happened to be. I don't know how familiar you are with that band, but you know, they have leanings towards classical music. They have takeoffs from classical music and they rock it up. And after their probably biggest album, Brain Salad Surgery, they took a hiatus and they went their separate ways, and they came back and they came out with their album Works Volume 1. And what that was a two LP at the time, 2 LP album. And each of the 3 members had a side to themselves, and then they came together and on the 4th side, and they and Keith Emerson did a piano concerto, had the whole orchestra, very nice. What they did for a tour for that album was they said, we're going to go on tour with an orchestra, full blown orchestra, which I don't know if it had been done. But then it probably has, maybe the Moody Blues. I don't know. But this is a extremely expensive thing to do. But they did it, and they went on tour. And my first concert, I think I was 15 years old, 1977, in Madison Square Garden in New York City, was Emerson, Lake and Palmer with the orchestra, which was it turned out to be a rare thing because they went on tour and they did, I don't know, 4, 5, maybe 6 performers. You know, they had their whole schedule lined up for the going across America and then to Europe or wherever they were going to go after that. They did. I have to check this, but wasn't a lot. You know, 4, 5, or 6 performances. When they, I guess they're not great business people. They realized this is really expensive. You know, to keep an orchestra and hotels and food and transportation and just moving about, you know, from the Boston Garden to Madison Square Garden. It costs money, you know. And they said, nah, I don't think we're going to do this. So they dropped the orchestra. And so it turned out to be like a rarity that to see them with a full-blown orchestra. And that was my first concert, 15 years old, and I'm sitting there just awe-inspired, you know, to see a three-piece band with a full-blown orchestra in a horseshoe shape around them, rocking Madison Square Garden in New York City. And that was it for me, you know. And that's when I said, yeah, I think I want to be a musician like that. And well, didn't work out for me, but you know what I'm saying. It was. Well,
you do play an instrument, right?
I do, yeah. And you know, look at them all back there, just collecting.
I can see those collections. You know what else I can see in the background, Tom? I can see your blue Jeep. Is that a Jeep in the back? Or you got your garage door open?
Yeah, I do, because it's hot as balls again.
Tom, God bless you for putting up with this.
There's no air. You think there's some air coming through?
No, there's nothing
coming through this shit. You know,
I live like 15
minutes.
There's
no wind. Look, there's no wind.
As he holds up a piece of paper that's just dead. It's dead. Just dead.
Which way's the wind blowing? Down.
A fly would move it, and that's not even moving. Yeah.
So that was my first concert, and it's just been just a great memory. That, you know, like I said, I was 15 years old. I went with a friend of mine, and we took a bus from New Jersey. Little 15-year-old kids. I don't know how you know, how many 15-year-olds would do that. And we went into Manhattan, saw a show, and then went back home. You know, but it was great time.
You know what? Back then we could do that. We used to take the subway. I would be like 10 years old, 11 years old, 12, 13, 14, 15. Just take the subway into Boston. Take the train. Take the bus to the subway station. Jump on the, you know, the people that are from where I'm from, jump on the blue line, head right into town. And we'd walk the city. Like 15, 14 years old. We go into like the combat zone, which was the equivalent of, you know, 42nd Street in New York.
Yeah.
With no fear. It's just kids today, I don't know.
You know, and as a parent, and I think, geez, how did my parents let me do that? You know what I mean? I look at my kids at 14, 15, like, I either I was more mature than my sons were at that age. I don't know. Or
maybe times were a little easier back then. Times weren't as dangerous, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know. But
anyway, I live to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. How much did you pay for that ticket? Do you remember?
Oh, it was $10. It's $10.
And where were you sitting?
Actually, I was pretty close, but I was on the side of the stage. So I was close to the stage, but on the side. Okay. It was an obstructed view, and that's probably why it was so cheap. Even for 1977, it's $10. But you know, a major draw at Madison Square Garden in New York City, $10.
Yeah, a pole in your way isn't gonna, like at the old Boston Garden, you could literally get a seat. Like at Fenway, even today.
Oh, right.
There's a seat and there's a pole.
Yeah.
Like a beam.
Right.
Like, it's an obstructed view seat, right?
Yep, exactly. That's fine.
So who cared? Yeah.
Go like that. Right.
Exactly. You're 15. It's but when you're 50, it's like, what the fuck is this? What did I pay for?
Did I just pay for $300? Right.
Yeah, not $300.
And a stiff neck, right?
I had a seat at Fenway Park, and I was sitting up right behind home plate. And every time there was a play up the first baseline, I had to lean to my right to see if they made the play. It was perfectly blocked out first base.
Yeah. So what was your first concert?
My first concert was Bad Company, a rock and roll fantasy tour at the Boston Garden. Yeah, that was pretty exciting. We had a big party at my house. We always did that. The kids I grew up with,
as
you
an
see
event.
on the shirt, Winthrop.
Right.
It was never like you didn't just go with 2 or 3 people. We would all meet. Like there would be like, you got tickets, because we had a couple of friends. Jack, as a matter of fact, Jack Calabrese, he was one of the guys that would get tickets. Like I had a friend of mine, Gino Catazone, he knew a ticket dealer, so he could get tickets to things. So there was probably, I don't know, 20 of us. We weren't all sitting together, but we all, we were like hooligans. We were like the original hooligans. And we're walking down to the Boston Garden. It's like 30 kids That's got to be a little intimidating to certain to people. You
Well,
know?
strength in numbers, right?
Yeah. And we were loud, but we weren't really. Okay, so we stole some T-shirt vendors' hockey bags full of T-shirts a couple times, but they were bootlegs. He wasn't like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
he was selling them away from the garden. Those are
It's okay to steal from something that's already been,
Yeah, it's not even
That's
real.
fugazi.
Yeah,
Fugazi.
That's how we justified it.
Right.
I think that I forget which concert it was, but one time the cops got us. They literally lined up 25 of us on a wall and searched us for the T-shirts. They knew they couldn't arrest all of us.
Oh, yeah.
And the dude was just, I just want my T-shirts back. And the cops said, get the fuck out of here. Everyone, all right, yep, no problem. See, we didn't mouth off the cops back then.
Right.
No.
Right.
That was a big no. You would
Right.
get your ass handed to you. Rightfully so. Not today. No, not today.
Yeah.
So we it was a rock and roll fantasy tour. It was a great show. And then the rest is history. I've seen
What year was that?
79, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, 79.
Yeah.
So
Paul-
and I was
Paul
probably I was 15, I think.
Yeah.
In 79. Yeah, I think it was 15. It was a summer tour.
Yeah.
So, and the song Rock and Roll Fantasy was all over the radio. I mean, it was just like everywhere. And, I think I think those tickets were the same, like $10, $11.
Yeah.
Back then when people used to stand in line and they overnight
Yeah.
for the ticket box, the ticket box to open, the ticket booth.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
now-
back around the same time, I remember buying tickets for Yes, and they were in the round. They were performing in the round, but that was weird. That was like a lot of money. I remember I dropped $25, and the worst part about it was I had to go to some place and buy the ticket for the concert that was going to be 6 months after the fact. So it's like, then I was a kid. $25 was a fortune, and yet you're like, you're dropping money, man. I got to wait 6 months to see the show. That was brutal.
I did that with Tears for Fears. I bought the tickets in December, and I had to wait till June to see it. But now you can buy them online. Okay, I have to stop the show for a second.
Uh-oh.
One of my buddies from the Music Relish podcast, you should check them out. They're steadily improving their quality of audio, but they have great content. Mark Smith, you like that Boston accent? Mark Smith says, did Tom give you a doctor's note? Because you did miss the podcast when I had Lou and Mark on, and you were under the weather. Mark, I have to tell you, he did produce the doctor's note, but he's wiping his forehead with it now. So hold it and see. So he did produce the doctor's note.
The good news is also the penile reduction that I had done was a success. Because my wife's 5'0". She weighs 100 pounds, and she was complaining. She's been complaining a lot, and I said, "Here's what I'm going to do for you. It's our anniversary coming up. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm gonna take a little bit off the sides for you," and it all went fine. So I'm back in business.
Okay, I guess Tom's life is an open book, baby. It's an open book.
I don't hold back.
I don't hold back. Yeah.
Ask Mark.
So speaking of bad company,
yes.
Why the fuck aren't they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
We're going to go down a rabbit hole with this, right? I understand. I heard what you sent me a text message that we were going to discuss this. I agree 100%. Well, again, first of all, on the surface of it, they should be in the Hall of Fame. When you compare them to all the people that are in, come on, but we're going to go back to Carly Simon again.
Fucking Green Day.
Green Day.
Green Day's in the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Bad Company isn't. That makes no sense. That makes zero fucking sense.
Are you a uh, do you have a lot of information on Bad Company? Are you an aficionado of them?
I know enough about them.
Well, let me ask you something, because I've just recently become curious about them. I walk around, I walk around, I do some jogging here and there, and I put on Pandora, and every once in a while a song would come on. Really, I had never heard it before. And I'm like, this sounds great. What is this? I look at the thing, Bad Company. I'm like, that's not Bad Company. But I guess it was the latter version.
Yeah, which again,
with the
I'm a
singer
purist.
Yeah, exactly. And I looked this guy up. I'm like, who's this guy? Who's this singer? Some guy. I don't remember his name, but he has since died. So it's like, holy water.
Yeah,
I'm walking on holy water.
Yeah,
yeah. Whoever that. But it was good ear candy to me. It sounded like that band Giant. Remember Giant?
I do. Good call. Good pluck. Yeah. Walk Through Fire. It was Walk Through Fire. Right.
Okay.
That peaked at number 28 on the charts that year.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giant. Yeah, that's Giant. Good pluck.
Giant. Yeah.
Wow.
They actually have an album. It may have come out already. These bands that get back together and they do their thing, and sometimes it's hard to keep up.
Yeah. I don't think Giant has a giant following right now, though.
No,
I think they were kind of one of those,
Yep.
They were good while they were good.
Right.
They
don't have the same guitarist and the whole thing. So it's
the funny thing about Bad Company is, like the Moody Blues, they were more popular in the States than they were back in England.
Right.
Yeah, that's a very rare occurrence. Odd. Yeah. But they were more popular over here than they were over there.
Well, the guys in the Music Relish podcast were just discussing that on their latest podcast about how with the English invasion sometimes, and how there's lots of bands since then that were just popular elsewhere, wherever it works out. It's like you're not just popular across the board. If you're popular, it's not just across the board. It's some bands are popular in Japan, and so that's where they go. And like there's lots of different examples of that, but it's really weird.
I think Cheap Trick is the biggest and best example of that.
Yeah,
they blew up in Japan, and it followed them back home. They were just a middle America touring band for a little while.
Well, the Live at Budokan, I guess.
That really
tricked
did
that,
it. That did it. The thing about Bad Company, though, is it's like they don't even get put into the category. It's not only are they not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they don't get put into the category of being snubbed either. Like there's the groups that they got snubbed. They don't even put Bad Company in that category, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Yeah. Absolutely mind-blowing to me. You have, let me see. This isn't stuff I know off the top of my head, so I kind of did a little a deep dive on this. So from 74 to 92, and that 92 version was with the other singer, Let me see. They had the following songs in the U.S. Top 40. Can't Get Enough at number 5. Moving On, number 19. Good Lovin' Gone Bad, number 36. Feel Like Making Love hit number 10. Young Blood hit number 20. Rock and Roll Fantasy hit number 13. If You Needed Somebody, number 16. Walk Through Fire hit number 28. And How About That hit number 38. So they had also 4 multi-platinum albums, 1 platinum album, and 5 additional gold albums. I mean, what more does this fucking group have to do? Like, what did they have to do?
Right.
To not get in? I don't get it.
There's something wrong with that whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's just I don't know. No one seems to want to do anything about it, It's just what it is.
I got tickets to see Bad Company at Hard Rock Live, right? Let me see. You're not doing anything wrong. We can't really respond. Can you read them?
I can read them.
Tom are having an internal discussion. If you can read them, you can comment out loud.
Oh, okay. All right.
On them. Right. Because we can't comment. So the discussion we just had for the listeners and the viewers is I can see the comments, so can Tom, for the people that are watching the live stream, but we can't respond back. That's why I always just read it out loud. And So, yeah, so I had tickets probably, I don't know, about 11 years ago to see Bad Company at Hard Rock Live. It was their like seal the deal type concert. This one was. They were filming they were making a DVD. And Paul Rogers actually said, this show right here solidifies the band. Like, this is Bad Company. And a couple of the members had passed, I think, and they had them up on the screen. I can't think offhand which ones they were. But they said, this is Bad Company. This DVD puts it out now. There's no questioning who Bad Company is, who the lead singer is. Mark Smith has that DVD. It was a great show. He says it's awesome. It was a great show. I mean, I think they kind of went a little, they had a little more energy for that since they knew. Yeah. And it was cool. The camera guy was walking around. I saw myself in the credits. In the credits, I just saw it like, because I remember when the guy walked by. Really? Yeah. I was watching the whole thing, and I'm like, where? Because I was up in the lifters right in the back of the arena, so you look straight across everybody, and the guy panned by with the camera, so I got to at least see myself in the credits.
That's cool.
But that's cool. I mean, to say that they're not good enough to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just really doesn't make any sense.
No.
Doesn't make any sense. Getting back to what you were talking about, groups that went overseas, like Cheap Trick, I said, Mark Smith says Toto, they played arenas in Germany and the rest of Europe, but played BB King's in the USA. Yeah.
Right.
BB King's club, but they weren't really, I guess, hitting it. And are you a Toto fan?
Me? Big time.
Yeah, I think Mark is too. I think he, as a matter of fact, I think he had a Toto shirt on one of their the YouTube videos. Yeah, by the way, Music Relish has a YouTube channel too, so go check it out. You can watch them talk like you do this podcast.
Right.
Yeah,
I saw Paul Rogers on tour. Kind of recently. I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago. One of the best shows I've seen. Whatever band he put together, and he's got his voice. He didn't miss a beat.
Doesn't miss a beat.
It was spot on. It was a great show.
Like Roland Orzabal from Tears for Fears, dude. Might sound better now than he did in '87. I mean, really? The guy was just, oh my Lord. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. Mark Smith said you and him went to see that gig at BB King's.
Sure.
Toto.
Yep. Yep.
Which is interesting. I've never really come across Toto fans.
It's a weird thing. It's just a weird thing.
And I'm not putting them down. I mean, I don't dislike them,
Yeah. If you, I was a fan from the beginning, and then you end up following the individual players, and you get the history behind it. And it's just one of those things that they're just fantastic musicians that have played with a lot of different people. It's almost like that Mark and I kid around with. It's like it's the 6 degrees of separation from Toto, because you could almost you pick a song, find somebody that was the band that played on that song. You know what I mean? And it's just, but no one, I understand how it's gotten lost, because you just then tend to know the 3 major hits, and that's that. But it's not the case. They're deep. It's a deep band that is, high quality musicianship.
How did they start? What was their beginnings?
Well, the LA band, Hold the Line. That was their first big hit, right? Hold the Line. And then after that came the, what was the next big hit? 99? 99? Woo!
I was just listening to that at the beach last weekend, 2 weekends ago. Yeah. I love that song.
And then, like most bands, this is another subject matter that all my music podcast people might want to touch on, that I've happened to notice. The 4th albums of major bands, right? First album may be good, second, third, maybe. Then the fourth one is a motherfucker, right? There's a lot of incidents if you go back between Led Zeppelin, all these people.
U2.
The fourth one is the big one. And then Toto came out with the fourth album with the 7 Grammy nominations, 7 Grammy wins or something like that with Africa and Rosanna and all this stuff. So, it just goes on. If you're bored and you want to look for new music, that new old music, because you go back and it's all good stuff. Just look at the Toto catalog. It's really great stuff.
Yeah, Mark Smith said they backed up Boz Scaggs on several songs on Silk Degrees.
Sure.
Which is a good album. Yeah. That's a good fucking album. Before officially becoming Toto. So they were kind of like the Eagles in Linda Ronstadt.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when did they form? When did they what year did they
78, I think, something like that. 77, 78 was that's when they first came out. So they've been around, and then they've been constant. It's been a constant thing. You don't hear about it because, like Mark said, there was a period of time based on their record deal, their record label, where it's like, you know what, we're not going to tour in America, but we're big in Europe, we're big in Germany. So, LA band, you got to get on a plane and you got to fly to Germany to do shows, and man, you do what you do,
You know where else they're big? Yacht Rock Radio. Yacht Rock Radio loves Toto. They fucking love Toto.
Yeah.
Along with Christopher Cross.
Christopher Cross.
Yeah.
And he's on tour.
Yeah.
He's coming around this area. I
Is
saw.
he really?
That's what I saw something like, I don't know. That might be good. I don't know.
You see the three songs, and then you're like, okay, all right, I get it. That's really all I want to see. I might pay $10 to see him for an obstructed view seat. But let me see. Mark Smith, I do too. He says, love fucking Yacht Rock Radio. It's good with a glass of Chardonnay.
Chardonnay, baby.
Chardonnay, baby. Yeah. Mark's kicking back. What do you think? Speaking of concerts, what do you think? I don't know when the last time you went to a big show was, but what are your thoughts on the fucking crowd singing?
I know what you're gonna say.
With the song. Look at this. Look.
Come on.
Tom,
give me a break.
Tom just went from using his doctor's note to a fucking beach towel to wipe himself down. This guy is a trooper.
And this is from the old country in Tampa.
Look at that. He broke out the beach towel. I got to tell you, he's in a garage. He's in his garage in Boca. I think it's like still 80 degrees out now.
Yeah,
Humidity
easy.
was like 80%. Yeah. And he's putting on the show. God bless you, Tom.
I'll lose a couple pounds tonight.
He's got the garage door open. He's sweating. He's sweating like an alcoholic outside a closed liquor store.
Yeah, Mark can tell you about that. Open
those doors.
It's 10 o'clock. Come on. 10 a.m.
What are your thoughts on that?
For me, well, again, I mean, as a musician and as a music lover, whenever I go to if I just go to a bar and I see a local band, which is bad, anybody is with me, like even if my wife or in the past a girl, like you're transfixed. I can't talk to you. I'm watching the band. I'm hearing the band and I'm watching the band. That's it. That's what I'm doing. And same thing. I it's almost like a study. You know what I mean? I'm studying this thing. I'm looking at it, and the straw that broke the camel's back for me was, speaking of I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, Steely Dan. Okay, Steely Dan is laid back, but still, I'm sitting there, and people around me having a conversation that has nothing to do with anything. They're just like they had nothing to do that night. So let's go to the show and we'll catch up. We'll talk to each other. And I'm trying to listen to music, and they're talking. It drives me insane. So singing along, well, I mean, that's better. But if it's like that at that point where the singer's like, help me out here, and sing with me. All right. But if you, especially if you're singing, you can't sing, and you're singing off key, and you have no rhythm at all, please just go away. I don't understand. Just go away. You know. But
it's now I understand it too when they say, you know, oh, and they put the mic, they hold the mic out for the crowd, right?
Right.
But when the impromptu crowd just starts singing the song,
yeah,
and it wasn't prompted by the singer, they just do it. Fucking hate that.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, and it's not one song. It's if it's an older band, they might be 5 or 6 songs that the whole crowd just starts singing. I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't pay to
I don't
hear
care for
you.
that. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, listen, they're having a good time. I'm not gonna, you know, dog them, but I'm just not a big fan of it myself. Now, the talkers, that's a whole nother conversation, my friend. The fucking talkers at a concert. That I don't get. That I went to see Radiohead in Miami a few years back, and the fucking people behind me and my wife just fucking yapping. And this one guy kept saying, when are they going to play Creep? How can they ever play Creep? When are they going to play Creep? Why didn't he? Then the next song is, why isn't he playing Creep? I'm like, I did turn around and say, shut the fuck up. Just shut up.
Good. Just shut up. I mean,
shut up. Dude's like, what's up, man? It's the show. Fucking watching the show.
Right.
You know?
And listening to the show, to the music, not you.
But it fucks me up because now I'm on edge. And I don't want to be on edge.
Right.
I had an incident happen. Okay, I went to see, it was a Christmas show at the Hard Rock Live, what is it, Mannheim right?
Steamroller? Mannheim Steamroller.
Yeah. It's big guitar, thing. But they did this little Christmas thing beforehand, right? Guy narrated some stuff and songs with, and so during the show, there's this lady like 2 rows in front of me, and she's talking. So there was this kid in a sailor uniform, because they were probably home on leave, right? Probably docked in Fort Lauderdale. They get free tickets to the shows and stuff.
Right.
So the kid's there, and this lady just starts talking to him. And finally, I just said, we're trying to, because people are looking like, what the hell, lady, right? And finally I say, we're trying to watch the show. Because I'm that guy, I guess.
Yeah.
And she looks at me, and she looks at him, and she looks back at me and says, well, evidently somebody doesn't have respect for the servicemen of this country. Uh-oh. I said, really? Let me tell you something. I served 10 years. I carried a gun for 10 years for this country. I served overseas in the Air Force. I was a military working dog handler. I did Secret Service support for the president, vice president, and foreign dignitaries. I served my country, and I kind of rattled off these things. I got this medal. I have that medal.
Yeah.
And she just kind of looked at me. I said, so you better know who the fuck you're talking to when you make a statement like that. All right?
Right.
And people around me were like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Right.
This is a fucking Christmas show.
Yeah.
We're at a Christmas show.
Right.
And finally, she just gets up in a huff. And, and I just said, Merry Christmas, right? And she leaves. And the kid turned around, and he's like, sir, I'm sorry, sir. I said, no, kid, you're good. God bless you. Thanks for serving. I appreciate it. She was a little out of line. It's not on you, man. Enjoy the show. Thank you, sir. Like, very respectful once he knew who I was, what I did. So, fucking talkers. They're the worst.
It's brutal.
I'd rather have someone talking in a movie theater than at a concert. I think I'm
Yeah.
more tolerant to that because, like
And-
you
and-
said,
Yeah.
you're there to watch the show. And I watch the show. I watch the little intricate parts of the show. I want to absorb it all.
Right.
You know?
And you hear somebody just talking about, he didn't have the rent for last week and he's going to be evicted. And, listen to Steely Dan, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Mark Smith said, last time I saw Dream Theater, he should have just been on the show with you. I had a Yahoo next to me the whole show screaming, play the old shit.
Yeah.
I said, shut the fuck up.
It's the Freebird mentality, right?
Yeah.
Freebird.
So I've done that at that classic albums live, right? They're playing Led Zeppelin. And then when they get done with the album, they come back out. And I did it, I don't know how many shows in a row. And it just became a thing where it's kind of quiet and they're ready to play. And I just yell out, play Freebird.
Yeah.
They're like, are you at the right show? Why are you always at these shows? So, the talking, the singing.
So, the first time that I was exposed to something like that, I was a kid, and my sister's 3 years older than me, and she went to college originally as a music major. She was studying music. She wanted to be a musician, like her stupid younger brother, and so she went to school. And, when you're a music major, you got to go through all the stuff. And one of her assignments was she had to go, observe and analyze a classical performance at Lincoln Center in New York City. Some orchestra performing something. And she had to go as an assignment and take notes and observe and homework and do whatever she had to do. And brought me along with her. And so there we are sitting in Lincoln Center. But you can understand this. This is classical music, quiet, pin can drop, solo violin seeps in, right? My sister, for whatever reason, and I didn't even realize it at the time, she's taking notes. She's got a legal pad, and she's taking notes with a pencil. And you hear this whispery violin coming out of nowhere, and then you hear, and she got tapped on her shoulder from this woman in the back. Excuse me, here's a pen. You know what I mean? The pen is silent. She gave her a pen. Can you write your fucking notes with a pen, please?
Oh shit!
And I can appreciate that. And from then on, when I go to a show, I better not hear anybody or anything.
And I bring a fucking pen with me.
A pen, right?
I bring a pen just in case. Just in case. Yeah, Lou says then they start flinging barrel over the place. Now those are particular or specific shows where that happens, where the bear starts to fly. Those are specific shows. Those are arena shows like stadium shows. Heavy metal. They're just. But the flinging bear, like Gwar. I saw Gwar a couple times. Yeah, Gwar. That's definitely some bear slinging right there. Yeah, definitely. So I was going to mention this. Let's move on to who do you think is the best 70s duo? I know that's a that's a tough.
I was thinking about this. Well, listen, nothing really duo. 70s.
70s, yeah.
We have to first identify, because you're going to come up with something that. Steely is it Steely Dan? No, you can't really consider that fan. Duo. What you got? Hall and Oates, right? You got the Carpenters. I don't know. Let's name. I don't know. I'll go Simon and Garfunkel, but I know you're going to mention 5 of them, and I'm going, oh yeah, those are good too.
No, I would think, if I were to now, if this were Jack, he'd say, well, define what do you think is how do you consider the best? Said. Is it the most hits?
That's not what you said.
Yeah, is it the most hits? Is it the most songs? The most albums?
Right.
I mean, well, you can't consider something. All right, blah 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 blah. Right.
Right.
Probably, I think I'm not a big Simon and Garfunkel fan, by the way. Not a big, I would have to say Steely Dan, I think. Might be the best duo of the 70s. Right?
But for people who aren't in the know, they think of Steely Dan as a band. You know what I mean? They don't think of it's two guys. You know, like Mark mentioned the Alan Parsons, that they were talking about the Alan Parsons project on their last episode of Music Relish. And Alan Parsons, their main two songwriters, Alan Parsons and Eric Wolfson, right? Well, who knows that? You know what I mean? Unless you know a little bit about a little bit, you just think it's Alan, it's a band. You know what I mean? You know, when you say a duo, well, there's Simon and Garfunkel, there's Hall and Oates,
Yeah.
So you say Steely Dan's like, if you did, the average person thinks that that's the same drummer, for 50 years, the same bass player, right? They don't know this. There's two guys running the show,
I don't know about that. I think it's like the Carpenters, like if somebody if they weren't so popular, you wouldn't think that they're a duo,
Yeah.
And speaking of which, and I will always say this, Karen Carpenter was not only had a beautiful voice, could write a song along with her brother, but that girl could fucking play the drums, man.
Right.
I think she got
chime
voted,
in any minute now.
Yeah, I think she got voted one year best, she was put in the top 10 best drummers. I mean, there's video of her on YouTube, and she was no joke. She was no joke on the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw there was like from one of those variety shows, and I think she went to like 3 different drum sets and just kept getting up, moving over to the next one and the next one. And Lou, got that right? And yes, I'm predictable. Yeah.
I was thinking again, how you want to split hairs. I'm a big Heart fan, right? The Wilson
There you
sisters,
go. Yeah.
right?
Are they a duo though?
Are they a duo?
I think Heart is
I don't
a
think
band.
so. Yeah, they're a band.
They're a band. It's in the studio though. In the studio, who writes? Is it those two writing the songs? So maybe Steely Dan didn't have a set group, right?
Right.
Heart did. Heart had a set group of people. Actually,
at least in the 70s,
Yeah. Ann Wilson was the big girl, right? She was they fucked her over in the 80s. That band fucked her over. They MTV was big, and
a lot of visual,
so was she. And and they the band was like, hey Ann, because the music, the studio or the record company wants videos, but the image, so they only filmed her from like the chest up, only headshots.
And she's a pretty woman. Yeah, she's a pretty woman there.
Yeah, pretty big. But I'm just kidding now. Hey, listen, I wish I had her talent. I can't knock that. No, but they fucked her over. And there was like this thing like 10 years later, and like, we regret that. We shouldn't have been that shallow. But they did it, and it was all for the record company and the money and the whole thing. And I'm sure that didn't help her, her confidence, afterwards. Although she could still sing, beautifully. But they fucked her over.
And Fort Lauderdale a few weeks ago, Ann Wilson.
Yeah, I had talked about them on one of the shows. They had a falling out, and it was over Nancy Wilson's husband and Ann Wilson's kids had a fight like backstage. They had a brawl, and the sisters were they took their sides. They chose the husband and the kids, and they haven't really done anything since. And I think Ann was wanting to like say, hey, we could go out on tour and we don't have to see each other. I think Nancy's like, nah, fuck that. Yeah. So I think Ann is out doing all the Heart songs. you know.
Because I've seen them a few times. They're really good show. I mean, I haven't seen them in quite a while, but back in the late 70s, early 80s, I've seen them 2-3 times. Really good show, you know.
Yeah. So Mark Smith pulls this one out, of course. Howard Leese was a great guitarist for Heart, stayed with them through the 80s, and played with Bad Company at the Hard Rock. Oh, look at you. Damn. That's a
He's on that
relish.
Google. He's on that Google right now.
Google.
You know?
Oh. Mark Smith got Googled.
His little fingers are flying over the keyboard.
Oh, I'll show them. I have a reputation to keep.
Yeah,
I'll show them.
right.
And actually, I was listening to their podcast, one of their podcasts recently, and it's funny how there's a couple things that cross over, and I kind of felt weird. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I was going to bring this up because I do my notes throughout the week, right? And I was going to bring up that Gene Seals from Seals and Croft passed away, right?
Right.
And speaking of duos, and they were a pretty good duo they had some hits.
Right.
They were popular. A little side note to that, I was down Cape Cod with my father one summer. We drove down there from Boston. I don't know, he took me somewhere, and we stopped at this little restaurant on the way back. And as we were walking in, I think it was Seals is the one that wore the hat, right?
I couldn't tell you for sure.
Yeah, I think he's the one that wore the hat. He was walking in the door, and he held the door for us, right?
Wow.
It was my father and his girlfriend and I. And we sat down, so I was probably 12. And I looked, and I sat down at the table. I told my father, and then I go, that's the guy from Seals and Croft. My father's like, what? And his girlfriend's like, holy smokes, it is.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, he just held the door for us. So I thought that was pretty cool. Cool.
That's definitely cool.
So I was going to bring it up, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't want to look like I'm like stealing their material, right? But I am right now because they took it a step further.
Yeah.
That his brother was Dan Seals from England Dan and
England Dan, John Ford
Coley. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought that. I didn't know that. And they brought it up, so I'm giving them all the credit. I hope I'm not copyright infringement anywhere here.
That's Encyclopedia Lou there. That Lou came up with that one. I think.
Yeah. I said, well, that's so. I give them the credit for that material. Yeah. Well, half of it, because I was going to say the other half anyways. And then I was listening, and I wrote this down while I was at a red light. I put it in my notes because I don't want to forget it. I had listened to Kiss, Love Gun, right? And I was thinking before that, Kiss, in my eyes, doesn't really hold up. I don't think their songs really stand the test other than Detroit Rock City. Rock and Roll All Night Party, those two, maybe. But I was listening to Love Gun, which was a big album for them. It was a hit in the 70s. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think they hold up. What about you? What do you think?
Well, Kiss to me, when I don't know, maybe a little snobbish because I was into prog when it was kind of, it was as a young kid, being into prog, and I remember Kiss. A lot of my friends went ape shit over this thing, and I never got it. I just never. I'm like, what? Are you serious? I mean, you might as well be. To me, Kiss is the Monkees, right? It's the Monkees. The Monkees are a good band. They got some good songs, but I don't know. I'm listening to Genesis over here, and you're Kiss, and then they took the makeup off. I mean, it seems like a joke to me, but it's rock and roll. Sure, it's rock and roll, but it's all good time. And listen, Gene Simmons is a terrific businessman, but musically, you say it doesn't hold up. I mean, it never held any water for me, and I don't know. It was a gimmick to me, and it always has been. So I don't know. Like I can't really take it too serious. Well, sure. I mean, gee, that's for sure. It's just like they never. I mean, I'm not putting, I'm not buying a Kiss album and putting it on the radio or putting it on the CD or anything like that. That's not for me,
So they were listening to Kiss Live, and you listened to Genesis, the Peter Gabriel version.
Peter Gabriel Genesis,
which is fucking no, thank you. I'm sorry. That's that whole theater.
It's hard.
That's the shit that sticks. What's his name? The douchebag, whatever his name is.
Yeah, it's theater.
Michael DeBarge or whatever. What's his name?
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
The lead singer from Styx. You had with the black hair.
Dennis DeYoung.
Dennis DeYoung, yeah, Dennis douchebag, I think.
By the way, he doesn't live so far from you.
Oh, really?
Did you read that about a month ago? I saw. Dennis DeYoung of Styx is selling his home in West Boca.
Oh,
it's up for 441. I don't know exactly where, but he's like, yeah, they moved in about 5-6 years ago, and he bought the house for $1 million, and now he's selling it for $2 million. So he's moving, but I don't know who's there.
Yeah, he's definitely. My house is close to that one, but it's not two.
yeah,
it's definitely not two. He fucked up Styx. That's just why I never liked them. And Peter Gabriel was that kind of artsy thing with the fucking miming and the
right.
I was like,
I kind of like that.
Hey, listen, that's your thing. I was carrying the insert from Kiss Alive 2 and fucking I took it to school with me.
There you go.
Oh yeah. I was into it. I saw them at the Providence Civic Center, probably the same year after Bad Company. I think it was the same summer, maybe. And I will tell you this: this stage show was unbelievable.
Yeah,
and this is when they were in their prime.
Sure it's a good show. I'm sure it's a good show.
The Gene Simmons God of Thunder, he gets raised to the top, just floating. He's got the blood coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Listen, the stage show was second to none. Second to none with the fire.
Yeah.
And at the end, they released something. We were on the floor seats, and something from above, and it just started raining all these sponges shaped like the square. Then it's a 3/4 square. Then it comes to a point. It curves at 45-degree angles into a point, like a chevron, or something. And it said Kiss Army on it. It was like silkscreen. I had that sponge for I don't know how long, but they did put on a great production. But I just don't.
Well, what do you think of like the Alice Cooper type of thing? Is that's sort of in that vein of theater, rock and roll theater type thing? Are you into that at all, Alice Cooper?
Yeah. I never got to see him, but I listen. A good stage show is a good stage show.
Sure.
And it has to be in that realm, like the whole fucking Styx with the Mr. Roboto stage show and No. Rob Zombie has a good stage show.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie has it. Yeah, he's I don't know if you're into Rob Zombie, but if anyone out there ever likes him and you ever get a chance to see him, the dude puts on a fucking great show. He is nonstop. Yeah, he is nonstop. And his props, and he's got the fire, the whole thing. He goes 100%. Yeah. Saw him a couple years ago at the Jackie Gleason Theater, or the Fillmore East down in Miami. Yeah. Have you ever been there to see a show?
The Fillmore?
Yeah.
No.
Jackie Gleason Theater, whatever they call it. It's kind of both. It's a great it's a great place to see a show.
Jackie Gleason. Yep. Oh, drummer for Pink Floyd. What's his name? Lou? What's the drummer for Pink Floyd? Anyway, the drummer for Pink Floyd did his. Yeah, it's slipping my mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did a thing a couple years ago before COVID, and at Jackie Gleason, and I went to see that. That was a yawner,
There's something about a live stream. There was Nick
Mason,
yeah.
Bango. Ding, ding,
it's
ding,
something about a live stream that all of a sudden you can't just sit here. I can't sit here and go, oh, you know what? I fuck for 2 minutes. You just can't do that. So I give up. Like I don't even, if it doesn't come immediately to me, I can't sit here. People don't want to hear me saying, hold on, wait a minute, for more than probably 15 seconds. And that might even be too much. That's a live stream right there. You don't want to. So you just, instead of just sounding like an idiot, then sometimes you get the answer wrong. So you waited that long. It's about the listeners. It's not about me. I can say, all right, I didn't know it immediately. All right. But Mark Smith beat Lou Colicchio to the punch. Yeah. He timed in first. So, you know, the Kiss thing, I watched them do I saw a video, I think yesterday, of them. I guess they let people come into the show when they do their sound test, right?
Right.
And I just kind of watched them, and I'm like, nah. No, like, and they need to quit now. Yeah, they need. It's war now. Don't make me break out the trivia book and throw a question out there to see who comes in first.
But Lou, Mark's got his fingers on the home row. He's poised. He's poised to just shoot those answers right in there. He's
Googling with one hand.
Right.
He's Googling with one hand.
The Chardonnay in the other one.
No, the Chardonnay's he's holding it with his teeth.
He's got a drool
and he
cup.
just tilts his head back. Yeah. And he's got ready to punch the answer in with the right hand. Yeah. Mark said about Styx, Mark Smith said, to give Dennis credit, he wrote Grand Illusion and Come Sail Away. Problem was he wanted Styx to move away from the hard prog, of Pieces of Eight to the pop of Babe. You know, let's see. Lou's doing this and making dinner. So, Mark, come on. Mark Smith says, I can do a lot of things with one hand. What is it? This is like... You guys
always comes back to the dick. Everything comes back to dick.
That's like the movie with Tom Cruise. I fucking forget it. I'm not going to say that. I know the name. It's the name of a flower. I forget the name of it. That's his whole thing in that movie. So I think, let me see. Bob Dylan announces his first UK tour in 5 years. Stay the fuck in the UK. Bob Dylan.
I'm not a fan. I don't know. Listen. Does he belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm not a fan. I mean, I if anything, I'm more of a folksy guy. I like that whole beginnings thing, Greenwich Village, and you know, you're sitting there pounding out on your acoustic guitar, and you know the times these are changing. Good. Yeah. Now it's like you talk about Kiss, not
holding up
over time. Bob Dylan, I don't honestly, I don't know.
How do people sit through that? Yeah.
I don't know.
Sounds like one of those remember those propeller planes that you would
right.
And you just swing it around on a string.
Yeah. Anyway, so I saw that. You know, when you mentioned that, I said, let me see the tour, and it's not only England. He's doing the whole whatever, you know, Sweden and all that stuff. So
Europe, the whole thing.
Yeah.
He'll be here, I guess, eventually, but he won't get my $200.
Nope.
If you had a choice to see the first show of a tour or the last show of a tour, which one would you want to see?
I think last. The last. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to put a little extra. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I missed that whole thing. You just froze for a second.
Uh-oh.
You think they're going to put what? That extra energy into it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They're like, we're done. Well, we're done for another year or whatever. We're gonna hit it hard. I don't know.
I saw Motley Crue kick off their first reunion tour in Fort Lauderdale, and it was a pretty rocking show. They were pretty pumped for that. I saw U2 kick off the Elevation tour in Fort Lauderdale, and at one point Bono was walking backwards they have the heart-shaped ramp that goes out into the audience, right? And then you got audience in the middle of it. And he was walking backwards, and all of a sudden he fucking just disappears. He fell into the crowd. Yeah. Yeah. So you wouldn't see that on any other fucking, I guarantee you from that point on, that didn't happen.
Yeah. Right.
But he just disappeared. I was like, oh shit. And then they just pushed him up there, and he crawled, like he started low crawling. Yeah, he played it up,
God.
you know?
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. And he, of course, corrected it, and then he caught up, and it just was pretty interesting to see. So yeah, let me see. Dave Phillips says, I thought Bob was done. Yes, so did I. So did Evie. But again, people are going to pay $200 to see him. You know, good luck on that. So with all that, my friend, time to move on. What's that?
Can I just interject? We got a little news flash here. I get this news flash thing on my phone. Well, you know,
Hold on, let me give it an intro. Hold on. Breaking news. Breaking news. Mark
Fleischman, he's the ex Studio 54 club owner, dies. I read this last month. He was going to have assisted suicide done, I guess in Switzerland or something like that. He was done. He had something wrong with him. He couldn't move. Yeah, he just he decided, like, listen, this is no life for me, so I'm going to plan my death. And he did it. The club Studio 54 owner flew, I guess, to Switzerland and had assisted suicide done. Boom, done.
That's a whole conversation in that. But you know what? Yeah. The guy owned an iconic piece of American pop history.
Sure.
There's no doubt about Studio 54 today. Even kids today, they hear Studio 54 as a series. They have a serious radio station, Studio 54, dedicated to all disco and stuff. Yeah. Well, God bless him. But I'll tell you what.
I've been there. I've been to Studio 54, but you know, way after the heyday of the 70s, it turned into a cabaret, and I saw the performance of the cabaret, and it was like little tables with drinks and stuff, and they did the whole. But it was in the club Studio 54,
dude,
which was kind of
cool. What a fucking deep clean they had to do on that fucking place.
Oh, it was I was like, I didn't want to even walk.
It's just one big fucking adult magazine store, fucking Combat Zone, 42nd Street video booth. That's all that fucking place was.
Right.
With coke residue everywhere.
Lots of residue. Yeah. No.
And I'll tell you what. Again, I was listening to I was watching the Music Relish podcast on YouTube, and disco came up, and I had actually commented while I was watching. Yeah, they did. Mark Smith said they found someone who died trying to sneak into the club in the air duct. That was while the club was open, though. That was while the club was open. Someone actually died trying to sneak in there. Disco, I'll tell you what, was some of the best produced music ever. That music is not easy to produce. I mean, dance music, R&B is not easy to produce. It's not like hip hop where they got drum machines and all that. That's a whole different type of production. And disco, the good disco songs, like the Village People, very highly produced and very well done. Hey, listen, the Village People's first album with San Francisco on it that's a good album. That's a good, solid album with great, like I said, great production value. I actually own it. I have their first album. Yeah. So,
well, for a kid in the 70s, you had your clubs and I was the anti-disco. Like if I'm listening to the original Genesis, you think I'm into disco? No. So, didn't like it. However, as time moves on, I'll listen to disco all day long. It's good stuff. You know what I mean?
I had the black satin jacket. I did.
Look at you.
I like disco.
You slick bastard.
But I could also listen to Led Zeppelin too, and I could also, listen to the Ohio Players, and I could also listen to Bowie, and then the New York Dolls. I listened to everything because I appreciated it. I appreciated. I never really shut myself out. I shut myself out from country music when I was younger, but then I learned to appreciate the old country music when this new country pop came out. I really looked back, and I did like some country songs, old country western songs.
Right.
But I learned later on in life to appreciate that version of country, which will never be reproduced.
Right.
Like, no one.
Well, this modern version of country, or whatever you call it, country western, it forces you back to that.
But know what? There's some fucking guy out there roaming around middle America, Oklahoma, who's fucking really good and has that old country sound to him. And he's doing, like they said, honky tonks in clubs like the Funky Biscuit, just making his living.
Right.
And that's the thing, man. Like, you find those, you see them and you hear them and you're like, why isn't this guy? But there's some guy out there or some girl that's doing that old, they call it now, these kids, they call it old timey. Old timey stuff. I don't like that. I don't like that. What the fuck is old timey? That old timey stuff. What the fuck is timey? Timey isn't even a word.
You're right.
They make shit up this generation.
Yeah, learn to speak.
Yeah. It's old time. Old time rock and roll, which I fucking hate that song too.
Yeah, right.
I hate that song. That's an overrated, overplayed song. So with all that, let's get to the top 10 songs this week in 1989. All right, enough of that. Okay. Number 10 on this week, the week ending June 15th, in 1989, number 10 was So Alive by Love and Rockets. Now, you know who Love and Rockets were, right? Where they came from. Bauhaus. They were Peter Murphy. Bauhaus broke up. Peter Murphy went on his own, and the two remaining members formed Love and Rockets. Yeah. And let me see. Luke Colicchio says, "Come to Asheville, Scott. Old timey everywhere." Fucking old timey. Old timey. Yeah, Love and Rockets. They were kind of an alternative band. They did a cover of what is it? Fuck is it? No, I'm gonna do what I just said I wouldn't do and spend time. They did like Ball of Illusion. Isn't that the Ball of Illusion? It's a 60s song or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, number 9 this week in 1989, The Doctor by the Doobie Brothers. Hey, they get a double mention.
The Doctor?
Really? See?
The
yeah.
Doctor?
Right?
Wow.
Number 8 this week in 1989, What You Don't Know by Expose. Number 7, Miss You Like Crazy, Natalie Cole. Number 6, it is Prince's worst song ever. Worst song ever. Prince came in at number 6 this week in 1989 with Bat Dance. Oh. It was because the Batman movie came out. The first Batman movie. And Bat Dance. And the video is just as fucking bad as the song. Prince. Number 5 this week in 1989, Baby Don't Forget My Number by one of the greatest duos of the 80s, Milli Vanilli.
They never recovered from that, did they?
Never recovered from that, yeah. And they never will. So if one of them died, the other one went out on tour, would he be just Millie? Or would he say Milli Vanilli? What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
Number 4 this week in 1989, Toy Soldiers by Martika. one-hit wonder right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everybody loved that song, right? It was kind of a unique song.
One
and that
and done.
was it for Martique. That was it. Although I'm sure she might still be getting residuals from that song. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hey, you know who I don't know if he still does, but he probably does, lives around here, around me? Corey Hart.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I wear my sunglasses. And he evidently had my wife spotted him somewhere and talking to him. I don't know. It was like a Halloween thing where she took the kids and he was in the driveway and of the house and she took her,
Wow.
my stepkids. And she was like, hey, are you? He goes, yeah, I'm Corey Hart. And she said he was a nice guy. He's plain as day, just nice guy. He was telling, he's got a house in Bermuda, and that's where he kind of splits his time. And, Corey Hart.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
80s pop icon.
Yeah.
I would say, right?
Yeah.
Number 3 this week in 1989, Good Thing by the Fine Young Cannibals. An offshoot of what group? So there was 2 bands that broke out of this band.
Crowded House.
No, the other band was General Public. So General Public and Fine Young Cannibals came from
I got nothing.
the English Beat.
Boom, Mark Smith.
Yeah, Mark Smith, the English Beat. Yep. So you had Fine, and I kind of like the Fine Young Cannibals.
Yeah.
I listened to them. Yeah, they do a great version of Elvis's Caught in a Trap. I can't hold on. Yeah. Anyways, I have to sing at least once an episode.
Sure.
Number 2 this week in 1989, Express Yourself by Madonna. And number 1 this week in 1989, If You Don't Know Me By Now by Simply Red.
Love Simply Red.
Evidently, that dude was pretty smart in the real estate world. He had took his money and invested in all these fucking properties in England, that down by the docks and shit, and he became a fucking a land baron, pretty much.
Yeah.
Smart guy.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Bad week for music. Yeah, in 1989. That wasn't such a good week, was it, Dave? Hey, Dave Phillips, I got something for you coming up, though. I got something for you, so stay tuned. All right, this day in music. On July 13th, 1963, this is Mark Smith's favorite part of the show, I think, from what he says. On this day, on July 13th, 1963, the Rolling Stones played their first ever gig outside of London when they appeared at the Alcove Club in Middlesbrough, Yorkshire, supporting the Hollies. The hit-making machine, the Hollies. On this day in 1964, the Animals went to number 1 on the UK single charts with The House of the Rising Sun, recorded in one take. Wow. This was the first UK number 1 to have a playing time of more than 4 minutes. That's the first song I ever remember hearing off a vinyl record.
Really?
I had the little suitcase thing.
Yeah.
I was out on my front porch, and I had this album. I was shit. So this was probably, I was probably like 5, 6 years old. Yeah. And I put it on. I didn't know what I was, and I distinctly remember putting the needle down and hearing that intro, that guitar intro. And I think that's what, I mean, what a great song to be the first song you ever remember hearing, right?
Right.
That's pretty, I mean, that's a pretty good fucking song to say.
Yeah.
And I think that set my head into the music stratosphere because I fucking love that song. Yeah. All right. On this day in 1967, Pink Floyd made their second appearance on the BBC Top of the Pops to promote their new single, See Emily Play, which was hosted by Pete Murray. The single went on to peak at number 6 on the UK chart. David Bowie does a great version of that on Pinups, on the Pinups album. Does a great version. It's my favorite song on that whole album. It's one of my favorite songs by him. Well, it's a remake, but on this day in 1968, Black Sabbath played their first gig at a small backstreet blues club in Birmingham, England. On this day in 1969, over 100 U.S. radio stations banned the Beatles' new single, The Ballad of John and Yoko, due to the line, Christ, you know it ain't easy. They called it offensive. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, right. On this day in 1974, Elton John started a 2-week run at #1 on the UK album chart with his 8th studio release, Caribou, and his 3rd #1 album. The album contained the singles Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me and The Bitch Is Back. Backstory behind The Bitch Is Back, Elton John had gone over to Bernie Taupin's house. They never really composed together. One would do the music, and then Elton would write the lyrics, or Elton would write the lyrics and send it to Bernie Taupin to do the music. He had gone over to Bernie Taupin's house, and he was in a fit about something. And Bernie Taupin's wife, this was probably before the Caribou album, or while they were making the Caribou album, Bernie Taupin's wife had coined the term, "The bitch is back."
Wow.
She's called out, and that was about Elton John. Yeah,
Wow.
so there you go. Now you know.
Cool.
On this day in 1978, the BBC announced a ban on the Sex Pistols' latest single, "No One Is Innocent," which featured vocals by Ronnie Biggs, the British criminal notorious for his part in the Great Train Robbery of 1963. At the time of the recording, Biggs was living in Brazil and was still wanted by the British authorities, but immune from extradition. Go to Brazil. I don't know if it's still like that. On this day in 1985, at 12:01, Status Quo. Now that's a trivia question. Who kicked off Live Aid? Status Quo.
Wow.
At 12:01, Status Quo started the Live Aid extravaganza held between Wembley Stadium, London, and JFK Stadium, Philadelphia. I could go through, but we all know about that. I'm not going to read the rest of that shit. On this day in 1985, Duran Duran became the first artist to have a #1 on the U.S. singles chart with the James Bond theme when, what was the name of the song? The James Bond theme by Duran Duran. A View to a Kill. When A View to a Kill went to the top of the charts. On this day in 1990, Curtis Mayfield was badly injured after a strong gust of wind blew a lighting rig on him during an outside concert in Brooklyn, New York. Fucking New York. They ruin everything.
Yeah.
Fucking New York ruins everything. And he never recovered. He actually got that paralyzed him.
Really?
Yeah, and he died from complications from that years later. But Curtis Mayfield was he was a brilliant songwriter, artist, etc. On this day in 1996, over 2,000 guitar players, including Chet Atkins and Jeff Skunk Baxter, set a new world record for the largest jam session ever when they played Heartbreak Hotel for 75 minutes at Nashville's Riverfront Park. The previous record was set in Vancouver, Canada on May 7th, 1994, when Randy Bachman led 1,322 amateur guitarists in a performance that lasted 68 minutes.
Wow.
On this day in 1997, The Prodigy started a 5-week run at #1 on the UK album chart with their 3rd album, The Fat of the Land, which had Firestarter on it. And let me see, the album has now sold over 10 million copies worldwide. The greatest video ever made. The greatest video ever made. If you can ever find the unedited version, it's out there somewhere on the interweb, as they call it, of Smack My Bitch Up. It is the greatest music video ever made. I don't care what anybody says. Even the slightly edited version is the greatest, and it has one of the greatest twists in music video history at the end.
Really? All
Yeah.
right. I'll
Smack
check it
My
out.
Bitch Up.
Smack my bitch up.
You
Okay.
can see the twist, the video, the twist of it, even if you go on and watch the edited version. But the unedited version has the heroin shooting up and the whole thing. It's sick. And it's nonstop from start to finish. It's not a boring video at all. Smack My Bitch Up. Greatest music video ever. On this day, it was a sad day. On this day in 2004, Arthur Killer Kane, the bass player for the New York Dolls, died at the age of 55 after checking himself into a Los Angeles emergency room complaining of fatigue. He was quickly diagnosed with leukemia and died within 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I believe there's a good documentary on him. I forget the name of it. New York Doll, I think it's called. Great documentary on him. All right, birthdays today. Roger McGuinn, guitar and vocalist for the Byrds. Their 1965 U.S. and U.K. #1 single, Mr. Tambourine Man. He was the only member of the Byrds to play on the hit. The others being session players on that song. That's odd, right?
Yeah.
And Stephen Bladd, drummer with the American rock band Jay Giles Band, for my boy Dave Phillips. So it's Stephen Bladd, the drummer with the American rock band, the Jay Giles Band, who had the 1982 U.S. #1 and UK #3 single Centerfold, which was taken from their U.S. #1 1981 album Freeze Frame. And that's it. And before I go, I have, if you want to reach the show, it's milkcratesandturntables@gmail.com. Now, I had gotten locked out for a while, and it just slipped my mind. So I finally broke back into that account, right? And Dave, best damn band in the world, Jay Giles. There you go, Lou. Lou still feels bad for saying that about Jay Giles to my buddy Dave Phillips during one of the podcasts. Lou's a nice guy. You're all nice guys. So I broke into the email finally, and from February 4th, I say February, Jack and he had that, it's Febru, right? February, right?
February. Yeah.
There was an email from Tom saying, I just watched the show. I watched the show for the first time. Good stuff. I finally got your email, Tom.
Oh, wow. From February.
Yeah, from February. Yeah. It's like, oh, shit. Speaking of Tom, there it is. You said, it's a quick, hey, watch your show, like your podcast. It's like, oh, shit. So I'll let him know. I finally got it.
So you do read emails. It just takes a while.
4 months later. Well, now that I got back into the account, Google is fucking crazy. I don't know if you, I have more than one Google email, and it gets really convoluted after a while. So,
yeah, I hear you.
Well, listen, my friend, I'm going to let you get into the air conditioning finally. I thank you for sticking it out for 97 minutes. I appreciate
it. Was fun as
time,
always.
Tom. Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you too, my friend. And everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube for the first time, like, share, and subscribe, and hit the alert bell, and you'll know when we go live. Other than that, if you're listening on the podcast platforms, give us a like, give us 5 stars, give us a rating, give us a comment. We'd appreciate it if you liked it. If not, thanks for listening anyways. I'm not that guy. And I will be back next week. Maybe with Jack. I don't know. It's unpredictable now, so I still want to get the elusive Perry Dedovich. The elusive one. You can give him that message for me. I'm trying to lock him in.
You're gunning for him.
Do I have to get a contract? Do I have to send him a contract? He is the captain of the ship of the Music Relish podcast, evidently.
Yeah,
so yeah. I want to get him on. He can come on solo, or he can come on with the guys. But I want to get him on. I appreciate his Perry is up the Mekong River. Oh, is he in Vietnam? Is that Mekong River? Is that in Vietnam? I don't know. Anyways, all right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Like I always say, you are the engine that makes this machine run. Without you, it would have just been a conversation with me and Tom, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. Tom's a nice guy. Listen to his podcast, Going Postal. Check out the Music Relish podcast. Those guys are they are next level smart when it comes to music. I give them that credit. That's why I like them. And to quote my favorite artist, Morrissey, doing the show for you, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. And I will be back next week.